So whenever we sit down to watch, a piece of science fiction about an alien threat, I feel like we are usually primed for a very specific type of spectacle.
Oh, for sure. The classics.
Right, like we expect the massive city-sized ships blocking out the sun, or the coordinated laser
The
bombardment.
global military mobilization, yeah.
Exactly. And it is a comfortable narrative, really, because the conflict is entirely external. I mean, it is basically an engineering problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. The enemy is out there, and humanity is down here trying to figure out how to punch through their shields.
Right. It is the ultimate boundary. The line between human and alien is drawn like miles above our heads.
You know exactly what you are fighting, and more importantly, you know exactly who is sitting next to you in the trenches.
Exactly. But biological sci-fi horror, it completely strips that comfort away.
It really does. It's so much more intimate.
It is. So today, our mission for this deep dive is a comprehensive start-to-finish exploration of a film that just throws out those alien dreadnoughts and replaces them with a space-borne parasitic fungus.
A cosmic Trojan horse, essentially.
Yeah. A cosmic Trojan horse. We are going to examine the relentless pacing of this thriller, dissect the terrifying biological mechanics of how this organism operates, and really just trace the sheer chaos of a plot that balances cosmic horror with the total absurdity of human nature.
Because in a story like this, the threat does not conquer your infrastructure. It conquers your nervous system.
Right. I mean, we've seen plenty of alien invasion stories, but what makes a microscopic, mind-controlling fungus so uniquely terrifying to watch unfold?
Well, what's fascinating here is how the film taps into that profound, intimate fear of losing autonomy.
Yeah.
We are all familiar with real-world parasitic organisms, right?
Yeah.
Things like Ophiocordyceps.
Oh, the zombie ant fungus.
Exactly. The fungi that hijack the brains of insects in the Amazon. The filmmakers take that existing biological reality and they just scale it up to humans.
Which is terrifying.
It really is, because you are no longer fighting an alien army. You are fighting an alien spore that is actively dictating the firing of your own neurons.
You become a prisoner locked inside your own skull.
Right. Just watching your hands do things you did not choose to do.
Ugh. Okay, let's unpack this from the very beginning, because the movie establishes this loss of control beautifully in its opening sequence.
It's such a strong opening.
It really is. The story actually kicks off exactly 18 years in the past, out in the desolate expanse of Western Australia.
Nowhere to hide.
Right. An unidentified object crashes down from orbit, and rather than showing us, the military plotting on a map in some fancy war room, we are thrust right onto the ground with a terrified civilian.
Such a great choice.
Yeah, he sprints to a phone box, frantically dials NASA, and just yells, "We're dying!"
And he mentions a tank, right?
Yes, he mentions a tank. And then before the operator can even respond, this massive tornado sweeps through the area and tears the line dead.
It is a brilliantly disorienting opening. I mean, the tornado almost feels like the Earth's own immune system reacting violently to a foreign pathogen.
Oh, I like that interpretation.
Yeah. So when the official response teams finally arrive, led by a scientist named Dr. Hero and two high-ranking military officers, Robert and Trini, the area is just dead silent.
Super eerie.
Exactly. They locate the crashed capsule, but they notice something deeply unsettling. The capsule looks as though it has been deliberately tampered with, or as Dr. Hero observes, intentionally cleaned.
Cleaned, wow. And it seems that very act of cleaning is what triggers the payload.
Yep.
Now, I have to stop here and push back on what happens next, because it feels like a trope we see constantly in these movies.
The scientist trope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Hero, a supposedly top-tier NASA scientist, gets right up close to this unknown alien biological substance.
She does.
She sees this large, green, fibrous fungus that is actively moving toward her, and she accidentally steps on it, infecting her shoe.
Yeah, not her brightest moment.
I mean, are we really supposed to believe that highly trained personnel would just walk up and touch the gooey space anomaly? Isn't that the first rule of sci-fi survival?
Well, sure, it is easy to label that as a horror movie trope. But if we actually look at the psychology of high-level researchers, it tracks with a known cognitive blind spot.
Wait, really?
Yeah, when a human being encounters something that completely shatters their understanding of reality, a true paradigm-shifting discovery, the brain's novelty-seeking center can completely override its threat assessment protocols.
Oh, wow. So curiosity literally kills the cat.
Exactly. The desire to observe phenomena often eclipses the fundamental instinct to survive. But Her mistake is vital for the audience.
Because it shows us how the thing works.
Right. It is through Dr. Hero that we learn exactly how this pathogen functions.
Because it does not just make her sick, it fundamentally rewires her.
Completely.
How exactly is the film suggesting this tiny spore manages to overpower a complex human brain?
So the film outlines a mechanism where the fungus bypasses the blood-brain barrier. It essentially forms a localized mycelial network right over the motor cortex.
Ugh, just growing right on the brain.
Yeah. And it floods the host's synapses with synthetic neurotransmitters. So the frontal lobe, the part of you that thinks and reasons and feels, is still completely active and aware.
That is the worst part.
It is, but it no longer has veto power over your physical movements. The parasite drives the host insane by manufacturing an overwhelming, inescapable biological urge to infect others.
That is a staggering concept. She realizes she is losing the wheel of her own body.
And she can feel these alien impulses commanding her muscles.
Yeah, and she makes this brutally calculated decision to intentionally take her own life right then and there, just to stop the parasite from using her as a vehicle to reach her colleagues.
It's a heavy scene. Witnessing that psychological breach, well, it forces the military's hand. They realize they are dealing with an existential threat.
So they panic.
Basically. It leads to an immediate scorched earth containment protocol. They secure the perimeter and deploy a low-yield nuclear blast to sterilize the entire Australian site.
Which seems smart at the time.
Right. But then they make the fatal, arrogant calculation that sets the stage for the rest of the narrative.
They just couldn't leave it alone.
Exactly. They extract a single surviving sample of the fungus and transport it to a highly secure, climate-controlled underground bunker in the United States.
Which brings us to the present day, 18 years later. And the transition here is jarring in the best way possible.
Oh, I love the time change.
It's so good. That hyper-classified military bunker, it has been decommissioned and renovated into a mundane, civilian, safe deposit facility.
Talk about a downgrade.
Seriously. We are introduced to Travis, a young guy just trying to get through his shift, Naomi, who is on her very first day, and Griffin, their incredibly petty manager.
The worst kind of boss.
Oh, absolutely. It is a standard, fluorescent-lit office environment, and they have absolutely no idea what is buried in the restricted sub-basement beneath them.
The contrast serves a very specific thematic purpose. The film is really highlighting human normalcy bias.
How so?
Well, we worry about office politics, paying rent, annoying bosses, all while being entirely oblivious to the fragile, potentially catastrophic systems operating silently in the background of our society.
Living on top of a biological volcano, basically.
Precisely.
Well, that mundane routine is shattered on what is otherwise a completely quiet night. You have this 90-year-old woman visiting her anniversary lockbox, and she just falls asleep in a private viewing room.
As you do.
Right. Meanwhile, Travis and Naomi start hearing this inexplicable rhythmic thudding coming from behind a solid concrete wall.
Creepy.
And while they're trying to figure out what that noise is, the movie hard cuts to North Carolina.
Right, where we reunite with Robert, the military officer from the Australian crash who is now, a hardened veteran.
Yep.
He receives a phone call in the middle of the night. The automated voice on the other end simply offers to sell her a 1987 Datsun car.
Now, I gotta ask, why such a bizarre, specific phrase for a military emergency protocol? Why not just say, like, code red or containment breach?
It's actually pretty clever. In high-stress, critical infrastructure monitoring, generic codes can be misheard or accidentally triggered.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. A highly specific, grammatically rigid phrase that is entirely out of context for the listener. It cuts through all cognitive noise.
So there's no mistaking it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Robert knows instantly that this is an automated telemetry alert. That phrase signifies a severe temperature anomaly at the decommissioned bunker.
So he immediately gets on the line with Abigail at Military HQ demanding satellite heat signature assistance. He knows what a temperature spike means for that sample.
He knows he's waking up.
Right. Meanwhile, back at the facility, Travis and Naomi make a fateful decision. They find a weak point in the wall and decide to break through to investigate the noise.
Always a bad idea in horror.
Always. We talked about Dr. Hero's scientific hubris earlier, but this is just civilian curiosity. At what point do we just admit that human curiosity becomes a fatal flaw in these scenarios? Like, why do we open doors that should definitely stay closed?
I mean, curiosity is the engine of human progress, right? But in the presence of an apex predator, it becomes our greatest vulnerability.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. When they break through the plaster, they do not find an empty room. They find ancient analog temperature sensors.
And that faded schematic of the classified base.
Yes. And a sprawling 400-step staircase descending into darkness.
The descent into that radiation-shielded basement is incredibly tense.
Atmospheric.
And it is down in this freezing, forgotten laboratory that we finally understand the mechanics of the outbreak. So, if this alien pathogen has been locked in a sub-zero containment unit for nearly 2 decades, how exactly does a microscopic spore manage to stage a jailbreak?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it is a masterclass in showcasing cascading systems failures.
Oh, I love a good systems failure analysis.
Right. Containment did not fail because of an explosion or a terrorist attack. It failed because of subtle, unchecked environmental shifts over the past year.
Think of it like a computer slowly booting up in safe mode.
That's like a perfect analogy.
The external climate shifted just enough that the aging cooling systems in the bunker could not quite compensate.
Yeah.
The ambient temperature in the containment unit rose degree by degree until it crossed a critical thermal threshold. The fungus did not wake up angry, it woke up methodically.
Precisely. Just an hour before Travis and Naomi broke through the wall, the warmth allowed the fungus to expand and breach the physical seal of its unit.
And then the sequence of transmission from there is terrifyingly ordinary.
It's almost funny how mundane it is.
Right. The exposed fungus is ingested by a wandering cockroach. That cockroach squeezes out through a ventilation crack to the surface parking lot.
Just a bug doing bug things.
Exactly. And then it gets crushed beneath the tire of a car belonging to Naomi's boyfriend, Mike, who had just arrived to pick her up.
It is a biological relay race.
It really is. The tire picks up the spore-laden remains of the cockroach, and then Mike's cat rubs against the tire.
Right.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, a house cat gets infected, but how does that translate to a massive, immediate threat? But the movie explains the transmission vector perfectly.
The cat goes feral.
Completely. The cat becomes aggressive, Mike gets scared and accidentally shoots it. But the fungus immediately forces the cat's body to resuscitate.
Which is such a wild visual.
It then throws itself at Mike and violently kills itself, rupturing its body to spread the spores directly into Mike's system.
It essentially turns the host into a biological fragmentation grenade.
Which is just, gross. And that explosive transmission method is how the infection jumps from Mike to a deer out in the surrounding woods moments later.
It is not just a virus spreading through sneezes. It is a biological wildfire using local fauna as kinetic delivery systems.
Wow. Yeah. And here's where it gets really interesting structurally. Down in the basement, Travis and Naomi are discovering mutated infected rats in this frozen tomb.
They are realizing that an apocalyptic threat is waking up.
Right. But upstairs, the film pivots back to Griffin, the manager. And what is he doing while the world ends?
Oh, this guy.
He and his buddies have backed a truck up to the loading dock and are casually trying to steal the facility's flat-screen TVs.
It is a bizarre collision of cosmic horror and petty crime.
It really is.
The film is arguing that people do not suddenly become noble or hyper-aware just because the stakes have changed.
Right.
Griffin's brain cannot process the reality of an alien superpathogen, so he defaults to petty capitalism. He understands the value of a television. He does not understand the value of quarantine.
Well, that normalcy bias gets shattered pretty quickly when the two realities collide.
Oh yeah, the deer.
The infected deer from the woods crashes into the facility, and it goes after Travis and Naomi. And true to the mechanics we discussed, it does not just bite them.
No, explodes.
It violently explodes upon impact, showering the area in spores. Travis and Naomi barely escape, retreating into a reinforced safe room.
The tension in that sequence is incredible.
And they find themselves locked in there with the 90-year-old woman who is completely oblivious, just waking up from her nap.
She has no idea.
None. While outside the heavy steel door, Naomi's newly infected boyfriend, Mike, begins methodically hunting them.
It creates a fantastic claustrophobic siege dynamic. You have the relentless mechanical threat of the zombified boyfriend outside, contrasted with the sheer absurdity of trying to explain cosmic horror to an elderly woman inside.
And just as the siege intensifies, the cavalry arrives. Robert and Trini finally reach the surface level of the facility.
The veterans are back.
Right. Robert is communicating with Abigail at headquarters, using the satellite to track heat signatures. Because the fungus dramatically spikes the host's body temperature to incubate, the satellite provides a real-time map of who is infected and who is clean.
Which is a brilliant tactical advantage.
It is. But Robert's first action on the ground is shocking. He walks through the parking lot and systematically slashes the tires of every single vehicle.
Including the ones belonging to the uninfected employees.
Yes. I have to admit, I look at that and see a villainous act. He is intentionally trapping innocent people in a kill zone. I mean, does the film present him as a hero or a cold-blooded pragmatist?
Well, this raises an important question about the ethics of survival in extreme scenarios.
Okay.
You see it as villainous, but Robert is operating under the brutal mathematics of exponential growth. He knows the R-naught of this pathogen.
Meaning how fast it spreads.
Exactly. If a single spore leaves that perimeter, the infection rate is practically infinite. He is not being malicious. He is executing the trolley problem on a global scale.
That's a grim way to look at it, but yeah.
By destroying those tires, he is accepting the immediate moral weight of condemning a few innocent people in that building to ensure the survival of 8 billion people outside of it.
The sheer psychological toll of that decision is heavy, and inside the situation is completely deteriorating. Zombie Mike breaches the inner corridors and corners Travis and Naomi.
The body horror in this scene is top-notch.
Oh, the visual horror peaks when Mike's jaw unhinges and he literally vomits a stream of the green fibrous fungus at them.
It is viscerally revolting.
It is. But then the tension is broken by the most unexpected intervention. Mike is suddenly blown backward by a massive shotgun blast.
The old lady?
Yes, the 90-year-old woman who can barely see past the end of the barrel and still has no grasp on what is happening had quietly picked up a dropped weapon and pulled the trigger.
It is an incredible moment of tension release. The theater must have gone wild for that.
Oh, I'm sure. But the relief lasts only seconds. Robert breaches the facility and assesses the situation. He looks at the structural damage, the spreading spores, and the infected biomass.
And he concludes that conventional containment is entirely broken.
Right. So he moves to the absolute last resort. He provides Travis and Naomi with tactical hazmat suits and pulls out a portable nuclear device.
The nuclear option. Literally.
And this is the scene that stuck with me the most. Robert is bleeding, he is exhausted, and he casually asks Abigail over the radio what yield he should dial in on the bomb.
Like he's ordering a pizza.
Exactly. He is standing there, debating whether to set it to 3, 5, 8, or 10 kilotons. The sheer casualness of calculating Armageddon is terrifying.
It really highlights how clinical the military response has to be when dealing with a biological anomaly. There's no room for emotion. There is only yield, depth, and thermal sterilization.
Right. And he assures Travis and Naomi that an 8-kiloton blast detonated at the bottom of the 400-step sub-basement will be absorbed by the bedrock and radiation shielding, leaving the surface atmosphere intact.
In theory.
In theory. So the climax of the film is a race against that very math. Robert activates the timer. Travis and Naomi have to sprint back down those 400 stairs into the darkest, most infected part of the facility.
To plant the device at the bedrock level.
Yep. And Robert himself has been injured in the skirmish and realizes his suit is compromised. He is infected.
Ah, full circle.
And in a moment that perfectly mirrors the opening, he refuses to seek safety. He stays on the upper concourse with a rifle, determined to hold the line and prevent anything from escaping the doors while the timer counts down.
It is a poignant echo of Dr. Hero's sacrifice 18 years prior. He chooses to anchor himself to the sinking ship to ensure the pathogen dies with him.
But human selfishness interrupts once again. Griffin, still clutching his stolen merchandise, realizes Robert is sealing the exits.
He just can't let the TVs go.
No. Rather than helping, Griffin attacks Robert, trying to kill him just to secure his own escape route. It is a pathetic and raging display of self-preservation that directly threatens the global containment effort.
It really makes you hate the guy.
Thankfully, Trini intercepts Griffin, neutralizing him before he can compromise the perimeter.
Good riddance.
Yeah. Travis and Naomi successfully plant the nuke and start the grueling climb back up the stairs. But as they are running, the digital timer on the bomb unexpectedly glitches.
It's a stressful moment.
The display flickers, and it arbitrarily adds exactly 55 seconds to the countdown.
That glitch is a fascinating narrative choice. In most films, technology fails and dooms the protagonists. Here, a flaw in human engineering, a faulty digital clock, is the only reason they survive. It underscores the chaotic, unpredictable nature of the entire event.
Those extra 55 seconds are everything. Travis, Naomi, and Trini burst out of the facility doors, pile into the one vehicle Trini left operational, and floor it down the access road.
Just in the nick of time.
Behind them, the ground simply drops. The subterranean nuclear detonation vaporizes the facility, the bunker, and the surrounding bedrock, turning the entire threat into superheated ash without breaking the surface atmosphere.
It is a terrifyingly narrow margin of victory. I mean, they did not outsmart the alien pathogen. They were just lucky the timer had a bad circuit.
So true. So what does this all mean when we step back from the screen? We just walked through a narrative that starts with an extraterrestrial payload crashing into the outback nearly 2 decades ago. It gets buried by the military, forgotten by time, and then it dismantles a civilian safe deposit facility and triggers an underground nuclear
It's
detonation.
all initiated by a fractional shift in room temperature.
And a cockroach and a house cat. It is a profound illustration of how incredibly fragile our containment systems really are, and how quickly a tiny oversight can cascade into an extinction-level event.
And importantly, the filmmaker refuses to give the audience a clean resolution.
Oh, the ending. Yeah.
The facility is a crater. Our surviving protagonists are driving away, but the final shot of the movie lingers.
It pushes deep into the untouched forest miles away from the blast radius.
Exactly. It focuses on a single rabbit resting in the underbrush. And as the lens sharpens, we see the unmistakable green, fibrous growth of the fungus creeping across the rabbit's eye.
The blast was not absolute. A spore made it past the perimeter.
The biological wildfire is still burning.
It is an image that sits heavy in your stomach long after the credits roll, and it forces you to think about the core mechanical premise of the entire disaster.
Right, the temperature shift.
Exactly. The movie goes out of its way to establish that the alien fungus only awoke from its hibernation because of subtle environmental temperature changes over the last year. It was safely frozen, but the climate of the facility shifted just enough to thaw it out.
Which is eerily relevant today.
It really is.
Yeah.
Applying that logic to the real world is where the true horror lies. As our own planet's climate continues to measurably shift and warm, it makes you wonder about the very real biology locked away in the ice.
Oh, absolutely.
What ancient, dormant, microscopic pathogens might currently be waking up in our own melting permafrost right now? Organisms that have been asleep for tens of thousands of years, patiently waiting as the temperature rises degree by degree.
Just waiting.
Things that might just be looking for a nervous system to hijack. Something to think about the next time you hear a strange, unexplainable noise coming from behind a wall.